Hey guys, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon here, September 6th, sitting here over my boat, which we'll get to in just a second. But first off, I'm sure that some of you that are supporters or watch the ministry externally have probably thought, well, we never heard about camp. So briefly, camp went awesome, even amid the pandemic of COVID-19. Met with the leaders this past week, and we all agree that this year has been probably the most purposeful, most effective and efficient camp we've had yet. Praise the Lord for it, because we give him all the glory. And even though the rest of the world is moving at a snail's pace, the Lord still had us get together for camp. And I would say 8 to 12 accounts of the gospel went out, and we praise the Lord for that ability to go out and the Lord working in people's hearts. Not all of it was received, great. Not all of it was rejected. And so we do praise the Lord for a wonderful camp. Leaders came away refreshed, re-energized, ready to go. And so now we're looking forward to what's coming up. And one thing that's come up that I need a little bit of help from you is if you have a sibling or a child that is between the age of 8 and 14. I need to hear from you, because what we're looking to do, based off of a lot of feedback and a lot of response and a lot of people coming to us, is the possibility for having a Propelling the Gospel Youth Day. Now, don't mix this up with our other camp. Our other camp is highly focused on sharing the gospel, highly intense, very little breaks. It's not your typical camp. And so I want to say that because this camp would look a little bit differently. What this would probably look like is we would get to the airport early on a Saturday, and throughout the day there'd be a time slot, say 9 to 3, where kids could show up, get an introductory flight, do a maintenance workshop, say about 20 minutes, and walk away with a project that they can show for, and have an opportunity to hear Bible study, which we haven't quite figured out how we'll integrate that, especially if it's a moving schedule and rotation of people moving in and out. And then have fellowship, have an opportunity to share the gospel with anybody that comes. And then if it's only just believers that come, our whole main goal for Propelling the Gospel has been to take your passions and use them totally for whatever God has for your life. And so maybe we can just stir that up. And some of these young people, and they can just be excited about what God might have them to do, of course, years down the road. I know many pilots that they wouldn't be pilots today if they didn't have their first flight when they were 8 or 10 years old. So don't think that can't happen. So that's one thing we're looking at. We do not have a time frame. We don't have very many details right now. We're just trying to gather the interest level before we move and how we move forward, especially if the public is open to the public. Most likely we're looking at wearing masks while flying. These would be short flights. They wouldn't really be too much longer than 15-minute flights, but still a visual of what Propelling the Gospel does. If you kind of look at what JARS Aviation does with operations at the airport, or a day at the airport, I think is one of their ministries, it would look very similar. Obviously, we're a smaller ministry, so we can do different things here and there. So that's one thing that's going on. Another thing is I am continuing on my classes. I've got multiple requests to fill in for pastors at various churches here in Maine. I'm excited about that. I am looking at an internship with my pastor here at West Buxton, which has not been totally approved yet, but it looks like we might be headed that way. And just thrilled to serve the Lord in this capacity and be able to get not only hands-on training, but academic training continually. When I started at South Africa Theological Seminary, I didn't know how long I'd really be able to afford it. So I kind of just went in and said, well, at least I'll take 2 classes, which turned into 4 classes, and 6 and 8 and 10 and so on. And here I am about a year away from graduation, and another opportunity that's come up on the backside of school that might have me to go for an educational degree. So see how that works out. Only the Lord knows, and excited to serve in that way. Most of you know that I feel called to preach, and I'm just excited to what the Lord's doing in that part. But Propelling the Gospel will continue. We will continue to fly. We are praying about location right now, praying about where the Lord wants us to stay at Leamington. Now we have 2 airplanes. Usually in the summer, the airport shut down for a couple months. It's very difficult to get in and out. And so we're considering all this in prayer and trying to figure out what the Lord would have us do. There's an airport in Oxford that's always open, heated hangar. We're praying about that. There's multiple opportunities. And so if you would pray with us and our team, how we move forward in that aspect. But nonetheless, excited about what can't happen. And here we are sitting on my boat. Now, don't take this wrong. This has definitely been a kind of a family project. When we got this boat, actually for Father's Day, I had this visual of family time. Now you're probably initially thinking the same thing I was thinking. Sandbar off to the end, a grill, maybe some good quality family time in the water. This year has been pretty much everything but that. I've had the engine out twice. I've done what someone would pay probably close to $8,000 to $10,000 in labor and parts to get this thing even remotely ready for the water. We've gotten stuck on the lake twice, towed back. And so it's been kind of this definitely sea trial with this boat. But this is an aspect, and this is early. I'm just sharing my burden with you. But this is an aspect of the ministry that could develop in years to come. You know that my heart has been set on those islands off the coast of Maine, Casco Bay Islands, 8 of them, no Bible preaching church. And so it may not be this boat, and this may not be the way of transportation, but none of them have runways. And so one of my thoughts and prayer has been if the Lord would have us as a family get this boat ready, that we could access those islands pretty quickly and minister to the people out there. So I'm just showing you this. It's been a very relaxing day. We had a wonderful 10-day vacation. I covered a pastor in Sprucehead, Maine, and it was a wonderful family vacation, and it was just good to reset as a family. And our oldest son, who's behind me, you can't see him, he starts school this week, and so a lot of transitioning, moving parts to our family right now. But nonetheless, seeking the Lord, keeping our eyes on Him, and moving forward. And so it's been a great time to rest and get ready for this new transition. More classes this fall, and just keep our eyes on Him. So pray with those things with us. If you're related or tied with some individual between 8 and 14, send me a message, just yes or no. There is a link on our Facebook page that if you're really serious about it, there's a questionnaire. It's also a registration form that I'd like to hear from you to see if you're comfortable, with this whole COVID thing going on, and go from there. So anyway, just a quick update here from Propelling the Gospel and the rest of the team that's not here with us, but very, very involved behind the scenes. So moving forward amid the COVID pandemic here in the state of Maine, Propelling the Gospel.